My good friend, Reverend McDonald, and the others who bore witness in word and deed their commitment to moving Georgia forward. The NAACP has had an unbroken presence in Georgia since 1917, and the beginnings of our history in Georgia are right here in Atlanta. Our first state president, the Reverend Ralph Mark Gilbert, W.W. Law, and others I can call the roll, all bore witness in their time that God's truth was marching on, and that we would side with God's truth. And so the NAACP, a diverse coalition of citizens who believe that America's promises are not fulfilled, and we, like the generations before us, have a duty, an obligation, sacred promise as Americans to make real the promises of this democracy. And those promises remain unfulfilled. Dr. Warnock did a good job of talking about how we get to this place. The long battle to move the legislation forward in the Congress and be passed in the House of Representatives, and to elect the president and re-elect the president and have that legislation passed by the Supreme Court of these United States, and the nullification by governors who are determined to thwart the will of the people at every level and substitute their own partisan judgment for the sake of a petty grudge. Not only is that uncivil, it is immoral, and people are dying every day. Rural hospitals are closing, and people are losing confidence in their government. And so we're here today to stand with those who've been arrested. Now some ask, why did you get arrested? I got arrested because we have saw people who don't have same interest in this fight hide, shuck, and jive, kick the ball to the legislator, kick the ball to the governor, dodge and obfuscate. And we wanted the record to be clear that in this fight, we were on the side of God. We were on the side of what was right. And that's where we will stand. Now, where do we go from here? We are happy today, on behalf of the NAACP and on behalf of Moral Monday, to announce Freedom Summer 2014. Some 50 years after Freedom Summer of 1964. And we invite people of goodwill and good conscience to let's take this movement outside of the perimeters of Atlanta. There is a Georgia in Savannah and Albany and Rome and Columbus and Macon and Athens and Statesboro and all points in between who agree with us. You've seen the surveys. Majority of Georgians want this government to expand Medicaid, to take what they have already paid for and what is being expanded in Kentucky and Ohio and Arizona and New Jersey, where those governors had at least a good enough sense to take what their citizens had already paid for. And so we will be going to the hedges and highways across this state, and we will be telling the story of what has happened in this 40-day legislative session, telling the story of the denial of expansion of Medicaid, telling the story of the shell games when it came to fully funding education, telling the story of how repeal, stand your ground was not considered, shut down in committee, and how guns everywhere and anywhere was put on the table and passed. We'll tell the story of how voting rights were restricted and early days were attempted to be rolled back. We'll tell that story. And when we come back in the next legislative session, after electing a new group in November, we won't come back with hundreds, we'll come back with thousands. And we'll continue to come back. We'll come back until justice is done in the people's house. Today, the elected representatives of this General Assembly will announce sine die and will run to the rotunda and throw their papers over into its bay as if they have completed their work. We're here today to tell the state of Georgia, your work is incomplete. your work is unfinished, and we won't stop in this rally, in this call for justice, until it is done. Peace and power, and God bless you.
Thank you so much.